Hello there and a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Vasni Athada for News First, and let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
8,000 people affected by the heavy showers and flooding. 4 lives lost. Rain predicted in the coming few days as well. 3 elephants killed in a train accident. Minister Sagala Ratnayaka says that the economy of the country is on a good path.
The opening ceremony for the road development project in Pitabaddara Kandruwana was held today under the patronage of Minister of Youth Affairs, Project Management and Southern Development, Sagala Ratnayaka.
The estimated cost of this road project is 500,000 rupees. According to our correspondent, nearly 14 families use this road daily. Our economy is on the correct path. Everyone says that our economy has crashed. It is true that the cost of living is difficult to bear, but that does not indicate that our economy has declined. We are developing this road today and many more roads in time to come. Roads that once could not accommodate vehicles will be developed. When the economy gradually strengthens, when roads are developed and when people receive more income, what will happen? Those who rode bicycles will purchase 3-wheelers, and those who own 3-wheelers will upgrade to Maruti cars. However, we do not purchase the car with all the income we have or even if we receive a salary increment. We obtain a loan to purchase this vehicle and we are committed to pay back the loan through installments. Earnings allocated for our daily expenses is now less. This is called disposable income. Earnings allocated for daily expenses will be reduced due to the loan installment we are committed to pay to the bank. After installments are paid to the bank, the balance money we have for food is now less. The prices of food items have not increased. In fact, prices are even less compared with the previous government. Even though prices have been increased several times during this government, prices are still less than the previous regime. It's a growing trend for ministers in Sri Lanka to express irresponsible and inaccurate statements on important aspects of the country like education, law, health, agriculture, and foreign services. It is understood that everybody does not have a wide knowledge in language or subject. Therefore, it is important to study and understand the subject matter before they speak before the public, as their inaccurate and irresponsible statements could mislead the public. We request our ministers to refrain from expressing their views and opinions with regard to subject matters beyond their knowledge and comprehension. Simply put, if you do not know what you're saying, don't say it.
On to your recent weather update. Police said 4 deaths have been reported as a result of the inclement weather in the country. The Met Department predicts heavy showers in the coming days as well. The Disaster Management Centre has instructed people living in lowlands to remain vigilant as the water levels of the Kalani, Kalu and Gin rivers have increased.
One person has died in the Urapahala area in Banduraba Gaul as a result of flash floods. Police said that he had got caught to the current when he was returning home from his workplace last evening. One person was killed after drowning when the Moonamalewata river overflowed in the Nallagoda area. The victim was identified as 65-year-old Gratian Arumodam. He had got caught to the rising water levels while sleeping at his house. The highest rainfall of 334 millimeters during the past 24 hours that ended at 8:30 am was reported from the Port Divela area in Gaul. Several areas in Colombo, Kalutara, Gaul, Mathura and Putlam have been inundated as a result of the heavy rain. The lowlands in the banks of the Ging River are inundated as a result of the water levels of the river increasing. The water gate of the Ging River in Baddegama recorded the water level at 4.10 meters. The Baddegama Udugama Road and the Baddegama Agalia Road have been inundated with water. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 families in the Gaul district have been affected due to the inclement weather condition. The Disaster Management Centre said that due to the continuous rainfall in areas such as Nelua, Tavalama and Hiniduma, people residing near the Ging River should be on alert.
Meanwhile, around 480 houses in the Halgaha Kumburuvatta area in Vanathmula Buralla are affected due to flooding. Mayor of Colombo, Rosi Senanayaka, arrived there to inspect on how to provide relief to the people in the area.
Our correspondent said that the people have been relocated at 2 camps. The water level stood at 4 feet as of this evening.
We are now joined by Abra Abid with the weather forecast.
As you know, heavy showers have been occurring due to the low pressure developing in the Arabian Sea, which will now be diverting towards the Sultanate of Oman. Heavy showers exceeding 100 millimeters can be expected in the Sabaragamuwa, central, western and southern provinces tonight. Meanwhile, gusty winds can be expected during the thunder showers, and the Met Department has requested the general public to take adequate precautions to avoid any accidents that can occur during the thunder showers. A low pressure has also been developing in the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Islands, due to which the Indian Met Department has requested the fishermen and the fishing community of Tamil Nadu and Kerala and the Indian coastal belt to refrain from any fishing activities tomorrow and the day after. So we would also like to request the fishing community of our country to take adequate precautions and to be vigilant.
The Ceylon Today newspaper, quoting a report by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, says there were 2.3 million undernourished people in Sri Lanka last year.
The report says the value has gone down from a figure of 3.6 million in 2006. The FAO said the number of children under 5 years of age affected by stunting last year was 300,000, unchanged from the 300,000 figure recorded in 2012 as well. The paper reported that the number of children under 5 years of age affected by wasting last year was 200,000. The number of women of reproductive age, those between 15 to 49 years age group affected by anemia, increased to 1.7 million in 2016 from a lower figure of 1.6 million in 2012. In related development, the number of infants upon 5 months who were breastfed remained unchanged at 300,000 last year, vis-a-vis the corresponding figure for 2012.
When you take a look at the undernourished number of children under the age of 5 years, it stands unchanged for the past 10 years. The short-term undernourishment stands at 15.4%. The short-term extreme undernourishment stands at 2%. The rest of the 13% is medium and minor malnutrition. When we carried out a survey last year, 33% of the pregnant mothers were suffering from anemia. Anemia is caused by the lack of iron as well as due to thalassemia. About 15% of the pregnant mothers are with anemia as a result of the lack of iron. We hope to carry out a study to find out the other reason for this.
3 wild elephants, including an 80-day-old unborn elephant, were killed after they collided with a night mail train plying from Batticaloa to Colombo Fort.
The incident occurred around 9:40 last night near the 178th mile post in close proximity to the Valikanda railway station, while a herd of elephants were crossing to the Madru Oya sanctuary from the Trikonamadu sanctuary along the railroad. The elephants were aged around 15, 8 and 7 years. The engine and 3 other compartments of the train were derailed as a result. Our correspondent said the Department of Railways had allocated buses to send the passengers to their destinations.
3 elephants have died. 2 are stuck in the train. 1 elephant has been thrown out. The train had travelled for about 50 meters after the collision happened before it stopped.
4 elephants were killed in a similar incident on the 18th of last month in the Puakpitiya area between the Palugaswewa and Galloya railway stations. We have engaged on an inspection tour in areas beyond Mahava from the 11th to the 15th and inspected over 600 kilometers of railway tracks where there are high-risk areas. We hope to identify all of it and provide sustainable solutions. The places where elephant crossings are located have to be identified and signal boards have to be placed at a distance where the engine drivers can apply the brakes. The crossings have to be developed so that the elephants can cross underneath. In the next 1.5 years, we will be able to make this a country that does not have accidents involving elephants and trains. 250 to 270 elephants die annually as a result of the human-elephant conflict. There were various proposals made to prevent elephants getting killed by train accidents. Even though a program was initiated by the Railway Department and the Department of Wildlife Conservation, it was a failure because the two departments have no connection with each other.
Champion Khabib Nurmagomedov ended Irish fighter Conor McGregor's attempt to win back the UFC lightweight title when he sealed a brutal submission victory with a rear naked chokehold in the fourth round today. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says it is engaged in continuous regulatory supervisions of licensed finance companies through off-site and on-site supervision. Quoting central bank data, the Sunday Times reported that licenses of 2 finance companies were cancelled by the central bank this year.
According to the papers, the 2 companies are the Central Investment and Finance PLC, which had its license cancelled in March this year, and the Standard Credit Finance Limited, which had its license cancelled in July this year. More than 7,000 people had deposited around 6.1 billion rupees in the 2 finance companies whose licenses were cancelled. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka said the Sri Lankan Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme would take necessary action to pay compensation to the insured depositors up to a maximum of 600,000 rupees for a depositor as per the regulation of the scheme. The papers added that the depositors may be able to recover part of the remaining deposits in the process of liquidation.
The Joint Trade Union Centre convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
The government has come up with a lot of formulas to increase the prices of the daily needs of the people, but they have not made the formula to feed the people of this country. The government has put the people of this country to a state where they are left in hunger. Some of the authorities in this country doesn't have any concerns for the people. When the bond scam was revealed and Ravi Karunanayaka had to let go of the finance ministry, it was given to Mangala Samaraveera. He was already vested with the Ministry of Mass Media. He can't understand how to run both the Ministry of Mass Media and the Ministry of Finance. The only thing we understand is the finance ministry is taxing the people of the country. Therefore, handling the country's economy does not necessarily mean to tax the people of the country and find money to get rid of the debt the country owes and to increase the prices of their daily need. Therefore, steps should be taken to limit the taxes so that families with at least 4 members can afford their daily meals. We as the Employees Trade Union request the government that we have been patient enough. The working people of this country have put this before the government. If they have made plans to present the budget for 2019, the government has a responsibility to reduce the unjust taxes that have been imposed and reduce the cost of living. The Labour Minister had said recently that the trade unions are against the funds of the EPF being invested in the stock exchange and that he will invest it irrelevant of whether the trade unions are against it or not. We have to tell Minister Ravindra Samaraveera that this is not property that belongs to his parents. We condemn the statement made by him as the Minister of Labour. We challenge the minister to do it if he can. We will come to Colombo on the 23rd with the private sector employees. We will come to protest against the government. We are not coming to have fun. This is the working crowd. We will come on the 23rd to show the real opposition of the people.
The 135th model village was vested with the public in Chawakacheri, Jaffna, under the auspices of the Minister of Housing and Construction and Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajid Premadasa, today.
The village consists of 29 houses and was named as Navalar Kottam. Several politicians, including the opposition leader R. Sampandan, parliamentarians Dharmalingam Siddharthan and Mave Senadiraja also attended the event. 29 ownership deeds and 700 housing loans were also distributed among low-income earners by the minister in line with the event. We can never build a nation by killing and harming people. A nation can be built with brotherhood, friendship and reconciliation. We should not think or treat people by their race, religion, creed or caste. So then we can develop our country, your country. We all have to protect the country's independence, territorial integrity as one. People always want a leader who works for them and a person who does not only speak about what they do. Those days they said the motherland comes first, second and third. But now I say that my motto would be to first develop the housing in the country, second to develop the housing in the country, and third also to develop the housing in the country.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the Kegol remand prison today to inspect on the well-being of parliamentarian Johnston Fernando.
Is it true that UN President Maithripala Sirisena held a discussion last Sunday?
That is a complete lie. No such discussion happened last Sunday.
The Sunday Times reported today that the Air Force Group Captain Channa Disanayake, Sri Lanka's defence attaché in Moscow, has been recalled to Colombo based on an official complaint by Sri Lanka's new ambassador in Moscow, Dayan Jayatilaka.
The paper reported that the ambassador has said the Air Force officer had allegedly partitioned the embassy premises, calling it the defence section, leaving other areas in the diplomatic mission outside it. Dr. Jayatilaka contended that he could not be the head of only one part of the Sri Lanka embassy. He also alleged that the defence attaché had imported a vehicle for his use in Moscow and had cost $80,000. This payment, however, has been authorized by the Air Force commander Kapila Jayampati. Air Marshal Jayampati quipped to top officers recently that even he did not have such a good vehicle. Air Marshal Jayampati was first told of the actions of the defence attaché by Ambassador Jayatilaka when he visited Moscow recently. Thereafter, the envoy had also sent in a report to the Foreign Ministry, which in turn went to the Defence Ministry. Both have concurred that the defence attaché, a pilot and the son of a SLAF high ranker, should be asked to return immediately. The new Sri Lanka ambassador to Russia, Dr. Dayan Jayatilaka, has denied making any official complaint about any staffer at the Sri Lankan mission in Moscow. The ambassador responded to a query posed by Newsfirst over an article published in a local weekend newspaper which stated, quote-unquote, defense attaché recalled from Moscow after Dayan's protest, said he had not sent anything in writing to either the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Defense or any staffer on the matter. The ambassador noted while he did make some verbal remarks, partly humorous, which were critical observations, the remarks had been taken out of context and embellished or spun. Ambassador Jayatilaka stressed the headline of the newspaper story, quote-unquote, defense attaché recalled from Moscow after Dayan's protest, is false. The ambassador added that he did not tell anyone that he, quote-unquote, could not be the head of only one part of the embassy. Ambassador Dr. Dayan Jayatilaka went on to note the newspaper should have checked the story with him, which it had not.
The General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front, Attorney-at-Law Maitri Gunaratne, expressed these views with regard to the current situation of the police department at a media briefing today.
Sri Lanka police dinen dina.
It is very evident that the police department is degrading with every passing day. The IGP is being praised by the Prime Minister and the Defence Minister. The situation faced by the police department is very similar to the one faced by the Sri Lankan Cricket Board. Wherever they go, they lose. They lose every time, more than they've lost before. Even though evidence has come to light of the conspiracy to assassinate the President and the former Defence Secretary, there has been no action taken to arrest and remand Nalaka Silva. What happened to the police officer who caught the sand lorry? When he brought the lorry into custody, the OIC reprimanded him. This is how the police acts.
The National Intellectuals Council held a seminar last evening in Tangol under the patronage of the leader of the JVP, Anurakumara Disanayake.
The seminar was held under the theme Movement of Intellectuals for a People-Centric Rule. This is a time where the economy is collapsing. The rupee has hit an all-time low and the government has failed to control the situation. The central bank has released foreign reserves amounting up to $184 million this year alone to control the rupee falling. Today we have a state filled not only with a bad economy but also filled with crimes, an education system which is decided upon money, a center of heroin, and a sick nation with a health sector which has fallen apart. Whether we admit it or not, politics have paved the way to the current situation in the country, and it is from politics that we need to figure out to get away from this situation. It is clear that Ranil Wickremesinghe's rule without a structure is proving that they do not have a clear journey ahead.
Deputy Minister of Law and Order Nalin Bandara expressed views about the next presidential candidate of the UNP at an event in Kurunegala.
මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉදිරියේදී එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයෙන් පොදු අපේක්ෂක වශයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන 2020 දී
Our hope in 2020 is to appoint a president from the UNP. We are not rejecting the current president. We are ready to work with the president. We also request the president to work with us. We ask the president not to join with the forces that worked against him in 2015, and if the president can work with us and for the UNP supporters, that is what should happen. The CID is carrying out investigations into this. The investigations are going well. Namal Kumara and the DIG Nalaka De Silva has been summoned before the court tomorrow. We will be able to uncover more details after tomorrow. If there is a requirement, the CID will question the IGP as well.
The 4th anniversary celebrations of the Al-Azhar Vidyalaya in Marveland Kegol was held yesterday. Minister of Industry and Commerce Rishad Badiuddin was the chief guest at the occasion.
The minister also observed an exhibition organized by the students of the school. Following the occasion, the minister addressed the media. Let them say whatever they want. There are over 5 court cases against me, simply because I tried to settle my people down. But we have not done any wrong. There will always be people who will be against us. Journalists also questioned the minister on the current price of goods. We cannot say that the cost of goods have increased. The cost of goods have not increased any more than when the Yahapalana came into power. May it be rice, sugar or kerosene oil, none of these goods have increased in price more than they costed in 2015. This is an era where the world economy is collapsing. The 30-year-old war cost us a lot of money. Because of that, we have had to pay out a lot of debt.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. For the News First team, I'm Dasniya Thakur. Good night.